Hi there, thanks for joining me today. In this video, I'm just going to introduce you to the world of RepricerExpress. RepricerExpress is a repricing tool for Amazon and eBay. Basically, what this means is that we will look after your pricing 24/7, so you don't have to go in there and worry about changing your prices all the time. At its core, what we allow you to do is to enter a minimum and a maximum price for each of your products. You then set up a pricing rule to determine how you want your product to reprice. This basically puts you in the driver's seat as you're the one who knows your business better than anyone. Throughout this video, I'm going to introduce you to the various screens in RepricerExpress, how the whole thing works, and basically give you a feel for how your business can benefit using our service. In this video, we're just going to touch upon the various subjects. We do have other videos on the YouTube account you can look at, or for more information, or to sign up for our free trial, you can visit RepricerExpress.com. You'll find details in the description down below. So the first thing you'll ask yourself is, how does repricing work? At its core, repricing is simple, though you can use our rules and settings to tailor the system much more closely to your needs. But at its core, you can set it up within 5 minutes and get your products repricing. So, how does it work? What you initially do is you set a minimum and maximum price on each of your products. Say, for example, you have a book, and you know you need to make at least £5 to make a profit. Then £5 or just over it would be your minimum price. Similarly, you'd set a maximum price. This could be £50, £100, it could be any value you want. Or you can use our rules to make it a percentage. So that way you could say your max will be, say, 5 times your minimum price. Once you've done this, RepricerExpress will then use your pricing rule, which you'll set up, to determine how you'll reprice. In this rule, for example, you could set it to beat your cheapest competitor by 1p. With that being the case, every time one of your competitors changes price, we'll then reprice you to beat them by 1p, as long as you're still within your minimum and maximum range. So that's it in a nutshell. But of course, the rabbit hole can go quite deep. So in this video, we're going to just introduce you to the service. We'll introduce you to some of the more common rule settings, just to give you a feel for how you can benefit. The first thing you'll see when you log into your account is your dashboard. Basically, it's an overview of your repricing results. It gives you an idea of how you're repricing on your various marketplaces and anything else that might need your attention. It's very useful to get a quick bird's eye view of what might be going on your account. This is also just the repricing dashboard, because we also offer a sales dashboard and a buy boxes dashboard, which similarly lets you get a feel for how those sections are behaving and if there's any actions you need taken. I'm sure you'll agree that this data is very useful in and of itself, because this sort of data can be very hard to get out of Amazon's interface. So the first thing we're going to do is take a quick look at some of the more common repricing settings you can use. The first section we're going to take a look at is the Compete With section. The Compete With section allows you to determine how you're going to compete with your competitors. You'll notice that we split this up so you can compete with differently depending if the competitor is MFN, FBA, or Amazon themselves. This is extremely useful as it allows you to fine-tune how you're going to reprice against each. As well as the beat buy settings that we have here, you can also choose to price above, match, or ignore. This means if you don't want to compete with Amazon, you can just ignore them. Or if you want to price above an MFN seller, you can do that as well. Fine-tuning the settings, you also have the option to compete only with sellers who are eligible for the buy box, as well as to only compete with the seller who currently holds the buy box. This allows you to ignore sellers who might not be eligible for the buy box, or if you're looking just to focus on the buy box themselves, you can do that too. In our advanced settings, you've also got a lot more controls over the type of competitors you'll compete with. You can control this based on item condition, and you can also exclude sellers based on various other criteria. This could be their seller rating, feedback count, the location of the product, the seller themselves, or the dispatch day time. This means that you can exclude sellers who you don't particularly want to compete with, maybe because they're low feedback or they're shipping from another country. These sorts of settings are particularly useful if you want to ignore certain types of sellers. For example, low feedback or new sellers, or sellers from other countries which might have a long time for the product to arrive. Further down in the scenarios section, you can also fine-tune what your product will do in certain scenarios. For example, if there are no competitors, if there's competition below your minimum price, or even if you have the buy box. This is very useful for fine-tuning how your rules are going to work. Just at the bottom, we also have our profit protection section with sleep mode. Sleep mode basically allows you to completely turn off repricing within certain hours of the day. You might use this if you don't want to reprice during certain times, or if you want to force your competitors' prices to increase by increasing your own price overnight. Of course, this is just a quick overview of the rules. There's so much more to discover, so I would really recommend you have a look at the videos and our website for more information. Something that is really cool that you can do with RepricerExpress is our new automations feature. You might not have realized this, but you can actually have multiple repricing rules. That in itself allows you to fine-tune how you want to reprice. But when you put automations on top of that, you get a really powerful tool. What automations allow you to do is choose certain criteria and then move your products from one rule to another based on that criteria. For example, what you may have is a rule that will increase your minimum price as you start to run out of stock. Alternatively, you might make your rule more competitive if it hasn't sold in a while. You can see for yourself we have a large number of triggers that can be used to trigger an automation. But of course, we're constantly adding to this list, so you might well find whenever you look at the system, there's even more available. What you can also do is mix and match triggers together. For example, we might have an automation that's set to trigger whenever there are orders greater than 50 in a set period of time, over 7 days, but also has low stock. This basically means that we can trigger whenever the orders are high and the stock is low to ensure that maybe increase our price so we don't sell out. With automations, you can really fine-tune how you reprice without ever lifting a finger after it's all set up. Something cool that you can set up that can tie back into the automations or just use it for your own information is the preferences section. What this allows you to do is determine preferences for bestseller, price war, or low stock. This basically means that you'll be informed whenever products fall into these categories. For example, we have bestseller here. The bestseller award will be applied to products that meet the criteria. In this case, the units sold is at least 36 in a week on Amazon UK, and you can control this per marketplace. Similarly, you can set settings for price war. Price war, again, in this case, is determined if a product decreases in price 6 times in an hour. And also, you can do the same for low stock, if your stock level is less than, in this case, 3 units. What you can do with these settings is display them beside your products on the My Inventory screen, which we're going to look at next, or you can even tie these into automations. So, for example, if there's a price war, your product can be moved into a rule where your min is higher, so you'll stop reducing your price, or you could have it set to go to a rule where you match competition instead of beating them, thus reducing the drop in price. So far we've gone through rules, automations, and a general idea of how repricing works. Well, that's all fine and good, but what does that matter if you can't see how things are behaving, the results, and get a gauge for how everything is doing? Well, That's where the My Inventory screen comes in, which, ironically enough, has all your inventory on it. The first thing I just want to point out is the low stock warning just beside your products. This ties into the settings that we just talked about, and similarly, if there was a price war or a best-selling product, it would have the icon beside it as well. Very helpful for seeing at a glance the products that meet these criteria. On the My Inventory screen here, you can search using the search box at the top to pull up products, or alternatively, you can use one of our many filters. These filters have been chosen to allow you to filter your products based on common use scenarios. For example, FBA, non-FBA, products that are in price war, based on quantity, sales, sales rank, position, or even how they've been repricing. This basically allows you to filter to the product type you want to see for review. The screen itself is very detailed. You'll notice it gives you details such as the stock, the rule, your min-max, your competition range, if you have the buy box and the buy box price, as well as the ability to turn on and off repricing. But this is just the start. Click on any product to pull up the real information. On this screen, you can see so much detail, but you can also drill down and only see the details you want to see. The Overview tab is a basic overview of your product, how it's repricing, as well as being able to control your min and max prices. Moving on to the Details tab, you can see how you're competing against your competitors, their prices, your rules, and more detailed information about your product. On the Buy Box tab, we have an overview of how the buy box has been behaving over the past week, the average sale price, your average price, and also who currently has the buy box. All very useful data to have if you're trying to see why your price is behaving the way it is. On the Compete With tab, you can see all the different sellers you've been competing with over the past 7 days. Then on the Sales tab, you can see any sales you've had over the past 7 or past 30 days. It breaks down the average sale price and how it's been behaving over a period of time. And then you have the History section, which allows you to get a basic view of how your price has been behaving. Just hover over to see the details. But this is the basic History tab. If you click for Detailed History, you get an overview of all of the repricing events that have occurred on that product over the past 24 hours or over the past 7 days. You can even hover over each to get an overview of why they repriced the way they did. I'm sure you can see why this would be helpful if you're trying to understand why your product is pricing the way it is and potentially to maximize your profits. With Repricer Express, you can also have multiple accounts. This basically means you can have multiple Amazons, multiple eBays, all under the one hood. If you have Amazon UK, FR, DE for example, you can add them all to the same one account. This is very helpful for keeping things in one easy access place. Something we regularly asked is, how does pricing work in this regard? With Repricer Express, we are firm believers in everything should be transparent and very easy to understand. So with that in mind, our pricing is purely based on the number of SKUs you want to reprice. Just taking a look at our example account here, our SKUs repricing are simply added together to work out the total listings that need repriced. Then you just choose the plan that fits the number of SKUs. Simple. So, having gone through the system, I bet you have 2 questions. First, how fast does it reprice? And second, how do I get started? Well, the answer to the first question is right away. Whenever a competitor changes price, we are immediately informed of that price change. Then we will reprice your product and upload the price change to Amazon. We do these price uploads every 2 minutes, which is the fastest Amazon allows to ensure that your price is updated as quickly as possible. How do you get started? Well, all you need to do is visit RepricerExpress.com and click the free 15-day trial button. What's better is I'll give you a longer trial too. When you click that button, simply scroll down and in the promo code field enter Repricer Demo 30 And we'll give you not a 15-day, not a 20-day, not a 25-day, or even 29-day trial. We'll give you a full 30-day trial. That's twice as long as normal. That's how confident I am that Repricer Express is right for your business. Why not get started today? But if you have any questions at all, just get in touch with us at support@RepricerExpress.com. Or you can get in touch with us on our website by clicking the button to open a chat. Our support team are there and happy to take your questions. So welcome to the world of Repricer Express, and please enjoy your stay.